Hi, I'm Ken Ham, CEO of Answers in Genesis, the Creation Museum, and the Ark Encounter. And I have a special guest today to talk about a powerful movie that's coming to theaters March 29th. It commences in theaters across the nation. And this movie deals, I tell you, powerfully. We've seen the movie. It's going to be absolutely astounding with the topic of abortion. And as you know, that has been headline news right now across this nation. 42 million children a year are actually killed by abortion around the globe. But in America, there have been all sorts of moves by different people to try to actually allow abortion right up until and even after a baby is born. This movie comes at a very, very strategic time. And I'm going to encourage you to take your children. Now, it is a little graphic in a couple of places. It needs to be, actually. So maybe you want to think about the age that you take. I'll ask Michael what he thinks, but certainly teenagers and above. But Michael Scott from pureflix.com. And of course, we have hundreds of our video titles on Pure Flix, and I encourage people to make sure they subscribe to Pure Flix to get that. But this movie is called Unplanned.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about the movie, a summary of this movie.
Well, Unplanned, I think in this a movie about the sanctity of life, being a pro-life movie, it's such a timely subject with what we're dealing with in our society today. But it really deals with this story of Abby Johnson, who worked at a Planned Parenthood and eventually became the director of a Planned Parenthood clinic in Houston, and performed over 20,000 abortions. And then one day she saw in the back room really what was happening and where things were going and what was taking place with these abortions. And it horrified her. And the guilt and the pain and all that she realized that she had done, she left the clinic and ultimately became a pro-life advocate and changed everything that she was doing. And it's a powerful testimony. You see what happened, what's going on in our society, but ultimately the importance of really, this isn't an inanimate object that's in someone's womb. It's a life that's in there, and you're going to see the power of that. I encourage. I find it interesting. One of the things is the movie got an R rating, unfortunately, and it wasn't because of language or. You know what's interesting is that I've seen advertisements on TV that should have an R rating. Correct.
And I've seen PG movies that should have an R rating, or PG-13 that should have an R rating. And they gave this an R rating.
Shocking.
Why did they give it an R rating?
They said it was it was too graphic in things. It has a little bit showing. It has part of the the thing you see, the ultrasound of the abortion and what have you. But I would say, well, how is it violent? Because according to the world, that's not a life. So it's not anything.
They're admitting that it's violent.
Yes, but
that's what they're admitting, that abortion is inhumane, it's violent.
Right, and it's okay for a 16-year-old girl to get an abortion.
Without parental consent?
Without parental consent or needing anybody to be there with her. But it's not okay to see a movie about what really takes place. And so
the hypocrisy of the world.
It's unbelievable. And so I think this is a movie, especially with the laws that were just passed in New York with the late-term abortions and all of that, you're going to see really what does that mean. And I think this movie at this time, it's a great movie to educate us as believers on what's really happening. But also, I think a movie like this having success in our society sends a message to Hollywood and to everybody in America here that we need to make changes, ultimately.
That's why the opening weekend is very, very important.
Right. That's exactly right.
And we encourage everyone to go, invite all your friends, invite your friends' friends.
That's right.
Take your children. Actually, I hear over and over again this argument, a woman has a right to do with her body what she wants.
Yeah.
This movie is going to show you it's not her body.
That's exactly right.
It's a unique human being.
That's right.
Made in the image of God. Mm-hmm. And it's actually DNA from the mum and the dad.
That's right, coming in.
Right? So the reason I believe they gave this R rating is what we said before, because they recognize that abortion is killing a human being.
That's right.
They recognize that. but also I don't believe they want people to see it. And so
don't,
I'm encouraging them. What age do you think?
I think, I think this movie truly should have been rated PG-13 for younger kids. It's not appropriate, but for 13, 14 and above, I think it's okay, because I think they're dealing with these issues in school now.
They are.
And, and they got to know
they've heard about these
what
issues.
Does this mean? It's not okay. It is a life, and see what it really thinks there. And I got to encourage people. I hear sometimes, well, I don't want to fight the lines on opening weekend on March 29th. I'd rather wait a week or see it in the middle of the week. Hollywood views the opening weekend box office, that Friday, Saturday, Sunday, as crucial. How that movie performs on those 3 days determines whether or not that movie's going to expand and how long it's going to stay in theaters. So if we want to send a message, us as Christians and part of the pro-life movement, we have to be there opening weekend, that Friday, Saturday, or Sunday.
You know, one of our scientists who's a great speaker, she runs our women's conferences actually, Dr. Georgia Purdom, she has a PhD in molecular genetics. She watched the movie as a preview, and she said it's one of the most powerful movies she's ever seen, and she wants to encourage every parent to go and to take your teenage children and to make sure they see it. It'll be eye-opening.
Yes.
It'll be convicting for many. It'll be powerful.
I sat through it, and you're watching, and you're trying to fight back the tears. I'm not one of those guys that cry in the movies, but this one I was just like, you were just overwhelmed with the emotion and what you're seeing, and it was incredibly impactful, because you really get to see the emotion and the feeling and everything. It's unbelievable.
Now, the main actor,
yes,
who acted the part of
Ashley,
who acted the part of the Abby Johnson, who was the Planned Parenthood director, correct?
Yes.
So there's a backstory.
There is a backstory on that. She did the audition. It was really close to they had trouble early on getting the right actor to play the role, find someone that really on it. So I think it was the week before they finally chose her to be the lead, Ashley. And she wasn't sure whether this was the right role for her. She went and did it, showed up on set, got all her lines memorized and stuff like that. Did not tell her family at all. The day she's on set, she calls up her family and says, Mom and Dad, I'm in this movie called Unplanned, explained what the movie was about, and her mom just started to weep and break down in tears. And she asked, what's wrong, Mom? She says, you have no idea what this means or what this is. She goes, when I was pregnant with you, I was making a decision on whether or not I was going to abort you or keep you. And ultimately, she was kept. And it was such a time as this that she was in this movie. So it's a powerful kind of true life meets the movie at the same time story that's there. So it's all those things. I think it's God's timing. He puts the right pieces together, the right actors in this movie, the right story. It's a powerful story, I think, that will impact people's lives.
Now they can see a trailer on YouTube?
Yes, YouTube. You can see it on our, you can go to the Unplanned Facebook page. You can go to Unplanned, I think it's unplannedmovie.com. And you can also, you can search Unplanned trailer on YouTube, and you can get it there as well and check out the theater.
So
check out the trailer.
If they remember the name Unplanned.
Unplanned.
And they can go and do search on Facebook and for the movie trailer and Unplanned. I encourage everyone, I urge everyone to go and see it. We as a Ministry of Answers in Genesis totally endorse this movie. I believe it's one of the most powerful movies, very needed for today, very educational, eye-opening, and it's a movie that you need to take your teenage children to see. The topic of abortion and pro-life and all these issues that are coming up, they're all familiar with them. They've heard all about them, and they need to see the truth. And ignore the R rating simply because that's going to cause some people to say, should I take my children if it's R-rated? There's no sex, there's no nudity.
It's R for recommend.
It's R for recommend. That's what it is. I like that. It's R for recommend for all ages. And try to get your whole church to go.
Yes.
Get groups to go, your youth groups to go, and go on the opening weekend and show Hollywood this movie we want to see.
I believe that movies and television, they shape our culture and influence our kids and us as adults. And once that culture's influenced, that's what leads to the policies and the laws of our land. And so we want to reshape this. It starts here by swaying the public opinion to really look at what's been done since Roe versus Wade till now and say, wow, we got to change. And if we can get a movement behind this movie, that will be part of that will help us guide us down to get back on the right path.
So there you have it, Unplanned. It commences in theaters across the nation, March 29. March 29, check out your local movie theaters. The R rating stands for recommended, for families, for teenagers, for youth groups, for adults, for everyone, for your friends, for your neighbors. And make sure you go and see Unplanned. And you can search on the web for the trailer and go to their Facebook, Unplanned Facebook, and find out all the information you need. And thanks to Michael Scott from Pure Flix, pureflix.com, where actually you host family-friendly, faith-friendly movies, all the ARG video
all the content from you guys. It's a wonderful thing. Sign up at pureflix.com if you want to get something incredible for your family to watch tonight and every night afterwards. And hopefully we're here at the Answers Center today, brand new. It's an incredible facility, and hopefully one day we'll get to see Unplanned up there on the new big screen.
We're going to be showing Pure Flix movies here, so as soon as Unplanned is available for us to show here, we will show it here.
That'll be awesome.